Ever noticed how, the moment you truly become aware of your negative emotions, their power seems to fade? You might feel an initial wave of anger, frustration, or sadness, but as soon as you step back and really observe the feeling, it begins to weaken. This phenomenon is more than just a spiritual insight. It's a psychological process backed by science and has everything to do with shifting our perspective from being the participant in our emotions to becoming the observer. Understanding the observer effect in emotions. When you're directly involved in a heated situation, say you're in a road rage incident, your body and mind are flooded with intense reactions. The fight or flight response kicks in and you feel compelled to defend yourself or react aggressively. But imagine if, instead of being in the driver's seat, you were simply a bystander, watching two strangers argue. As the observer, you'd likely feel very differently. You might have thoughts about the situation, but because you aren't personally involved, you're calm and collected, and your mind is at peace. This distance allows you to think more clearly and analyze the situation objectively. The same principle applies to your emotions. When you consciously observe your feelings without immediately identifying with them, you create a psychological space that reduces their intensity. This is known in mindfulness practices as decentering, and it's the power of awareness in action. The science behind decentering and emotional regulation. This shift from participant to observer isn't just a mental trick, it involves actual changes in brain activity. Research shows that when we reflect on our thoughts and emotions, especially by labeling or naming them, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for higher-order thinking, analysis, and self-control. At the same time, activity in the amygdala, the region associated with fear and emotional reactivity, decreases. A study conducted by neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman and his team at UCLA explored this process using functional MRI, fMRI scans. They found that when participants labeled emotions, the activity in their amygdala, which triggers emotional responses, lessened, while activity in the prefrontal cortex increased. This suggests that consciously observing or labeling an emotion can biologically change how our brains process it, reducing our tendency to react impulsively. Shifting perspectives. Becoming the observer. When you take the stance of an observer, you gain a clearer view of what's happening inside you. The observer has the power to understand the situation better precisely because they aren't personally entangled in it. By being calm and objective, they can analyze the situation from a neutral perspective, leading to more insightful responses rather than impulsive reactions. To illustrate, let's return to the road rage example. When you're the observer, your mind isn't clouded by the urge to defend or retaliate. Instead, you're able to watch the event unfold with a sense of detachment, which frees up mental resources for reflection and understanding. Rather than acting from an emotional impulse, the observer can see things as they are and understand that it's simply an experience passing through, not something that defines them. How to practice being the observer in daily life. First, pause and label the emotion. Next time you feel a strong emotion, pause and name it. Simply saying, "I'm feeling anger," or "this is sadness," activates the prefrontal cortex, helping to lessen the intensity of the feeling. Second, ask questions. Instead of reacting, ask questions about the emotion. Why am I feeling this way? Or what triggered this reaction? Cultivate curiosity, which shifts you into observer mode. Third, visualize stepping outside yourself. Imagine watching yourself from a distance like a character in a movie. Visualize the emotions as waves or clouds passing by, not as storms you're stuck in. This perspective reminds you that you are separate from your feelings. Lastly, practice mindfulness or meditation. Both mindfulness and meditation emphasize this observer state, training your mind to witness thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Embracing awareness as a path to inner peace. The power of awareness lies in its ability to free us from emotional reactivity. By learning to observe, rather than embody our emotions, we regain control over how we respond to the world. This practice isn't about suppressing emotions. Instead, it's about experiencing them fully, yet without allowing them to define us or dictate our actions. The next time you feel overcome by a strong emotion, try stepping back and observing it. Notice how its intensity begins to lessen as you shift from participant to observer. In this state of awareness, you'll find a calm that opens space for understanding, peace, and ultimately, a better way of navigating life's challenges.